last end of my internship, there was a public complaints committee. This was an environment ombudsman that was chaired by Dr. Smokin Wanjala. So I had him on radio in the morning talking about it and saying, oh, we'll be recruiting or we'll be looking for people to help us. Who are the people? I rocked up at the office and I walk in, I see this tall guy and I'm like, hi, I'm here to see Dr. Smokin Wanjala. And he's like, do you know Dr. Smokin Wanjala? I'm like, no, I don't know him, but I had him on radio saying he needs an environmentalist. And so here I am. And that's how I got my job as a paid a paid intern or contractor. And then from there, I charted my path. And in NEMA, my most memorable moments were sitting with people who were so learned. You know, when I went there with my degree, I thought I was the ish. Then I met the women who were in Montreal University, Betty. Everyone had a master's, everyone had a PhD, guys were working on their PhD. So of course it burnt some thirst in me when I decided, I can't be the only one with a degree working on these corridors. So I started looking for scholarships. That's when I knew there are scholarships out here. And I applied for my first scholarship and I got it. So the scholarship came through the European Union, a program called Erasmus Mundus program. So I went to study environment policy, science and management. So I did my tour of Europe because the EU scholarship was for education and culture. So you had to immerse yourself in the European culture. So I spent a year in Hungary, Central European University, fantastic city in Budapest. Then we went for a stint in Greece at the University of Aegean. Imagine spending your whole afternoon staring at the ocean. When guys went for siesta, us we were all busy swimming in the ocean and, you know, just enjoying part of being and immersing yourself in the culture. Then for my final year, I went to Lund University, but I also had done courses from Manchester. Remember, my background was in environment science, but I found it more fascinating to do management and also policy. And that's why I went to Lund University to do my thesis there and my last year. And it is at Lund University in Sweden that I first had the word sustainability. I had sustainability, but from environmental sustainability. And while we were, you know, the beauty of the masters, would go to different companies like Tetra Pak, Scania, the traditional Swedish companies. And you'd hear when companies are negotiating, they're looking at each other's sustainability reports, what are your sustainability credentials and not financials. So it is at that moment that I knew, marine biologist, kwaheri, I am coming back to be a corporate environment manager. So when I was coming back to Kenya, these roles were not there. Yeah. So it was in my last month and I was thinking I'll spend 6 months touring Europe and so on. Then I saw my sister actually forwarded me a role. She's like, Safaricom is recruiting its first environment manager. You have to come back home. You have to do this role. So I applied for the role. I didn't think much about it when I applied for it. I was just like, yeah, my sister wants me to apply. So I applied. Then my tour of Europe was cut short because I had to come back for the interview. So my sister practically dragged me to this building for that interview. So I came for the interview and it was fantastic. Safaricom my sister had already worked in here, by the way. So she knew it would be a good place for me. At that time, I was so comfortable in government. Remember, I had already now moved from being a contractor. I had become an environment officer. I had been trained on environmental inspection. We were walking the whole of Nairobi River. You know, it was so fascinating because I was always out in the field. But when I did my master's, all that changed. I realized regulatory work is good, but my heart was in transforming companies like Safaricom to be environmental champions and so on and so forth. So that's how I ended up here as the first environment manager and now picked up the first sustainability person. I did the 10 reports and that's how I ended up in this career and role. So over the years, the things that jump out to me is people, purpose itself. What's my purpose? What's the purpose of me being here? And under people, it's more from my personal interactions with people than how people within a corporate setup. So my purpose is the interplay and my passion is in the interplay between people, purpose, the planet, and profits. And that's exactly what I do here in Safaricom in my career. It has brought all the different phases of the different things I've learned along my journey. Remember, I started from being a planet person. Then now I went into sustainability, into social, into community, into people. So that's the people pillar. And at the top of it, you must have a purpose. So people ask me my purpose. When I went to study environment, I just wanted to leave the world a little better than I found it. And if you look at my motivation letter when I was applying to Europe, Wangari Maathai was my role model. Remember, my father had said there can only be one? Wangari Maathai. But I knew there's space for many, many more environmentalists. There's space for many, many more sustainability people. So right now, I believe everything I do should leave a positive impact for future generations.